Hey Dan,
Yeah,
do you like booze?
I don't mind it.
Do you like making money?
I don't mind that either.
This is the episode for you!
Time to put your money where your drink is.
Oh yeah. So on this little journey, we're going to look about investing in alcohol, because what's better than drinking it? Investing it to make more money to drink more. But in all seriousness, it's something I think is a great way to expand your already existing hobby of love of different types of booze. And then you can have a nice little collection you can show off to your friends as you come along, and hopefully one day make a nice little dollary do.
Yeah, especially if you are a bit more of a rum or whiskey geek and you have all this knowledge, then you might be able to find a few that it might be a better investment.
My thought process is, if it doesn't appreciate in value over time, drink it. it's a win-win. I feel like it's one of those, those really cheap get-rich-quick ones, and you go, there is no downside. You make money or you drink booze. It's a win-win.
Either way, you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, so my personal philosophy is I'm not going to spend any more than I'm willing to completely lose.
Yes.
So I kind of think of it as,
Absolutely.
would I be happy spending that money and drinking it? If the answer is yes, then I'm happy doing that as a possible investment.
But just firstly, as we are a very litigious society, just need to say that neither Edward nor I are financial advisors. So if you do decide to pick up a couple of bottles and dip your toe in the proverbial pool, then you will have to adult yourself. If you cannot assess this risk for yourself, please seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. As spirit as an alternative investment, if there's an earthquake in Taiwan and chip sales crash, or if there's a housing crisis or something else like that, things like whiskies and rums and wines aren't going to be as effective. So it's a little, more resilient in that way.
It's actually really interesting. There's a lot of stats showing that the wealthy, the top 1%, actually not only just wine, but spirits have been a new popular trend.
In the last decade, the Knight Frank Luxury Investment Index reports that whiskey has had a 586% jump. So that's nothing to shake a stick at.
The dark spirit category is awesome. Like vodka, I think there's only so much limitedness you get with vodka, whereas the dark spirits have this provenance, this aging, this history behind it, a story to tell. And that's where, like, for example, the Dictador story is pretty cool, that you get that don't see coming from a 2-day-old vodka.
Whiskey has really paved the way for dark spirits being seen as a luxury investment item, and rum is looking to really take suit. And a lot of things that people look for when they're looking for a whiskey investment are also in the rum world. That really old provenance, being around for 100 years or so, having the family tradition come down through the generations, having a very high quality liquid, and of course the most important one, the look of the bottle.
Actually, rum can be so interesting because I feel like you can be more flexible with rum in terms of the guidelines of what makes a rum. So I think that gives them an ability to create some really interesting tastes and colours within that rum category.
And Forbes has also written articles about rum as being an up and coming. Because it's poised where whiskey was sort of 10, 20 years ago. And so it looks like rum could be a factor popping up.
Dictador is doing something really special with their Two Masters line, and I really like the kind of concept behind it. The master distiller from Dictador ages the barrel and carefully selects what they want. They ship that barrel over to another master distiller or winemaker, and then they finish that in their own style. So you kind of have almost this symphony of two different masters making this one interesting little creation. Very limited. I think it's up to like 400 bottles per offering.
300 something.
Yeah. And then look, what's so cool about this is that they give their little thumbprints on the front there. So
300. This is 380.
Yeah. So 380. So if you want to unlock their iPhone, bada bing, they give you their thumbprints there. But it gives all signatures. It has that awesome, really old age. It's so dark. And we've had the privilege of trying some of the Two Masters and the little taster ones. Thank you very much for that, by the way. And the taste was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely worth the time and effort they've gone through.
I felt like it was velvety. Like just this kind of, it wasn't overly oaky from like an old one, but it was just smooth and it was just rich and complex.
Yeah, I heard one of the other masters in an interview talking about it, and he was saying like he just got his cognac to just sort of help Yeah, just to bring a bit more well-rounded, a bit more depth and everything to it, which I think is something that, you know, every sort of rum and whiskey geek is really sort of looking for, is more depth.
Now, how many dollary-doos is that going to set us on that?
So at the time that I purchased this was about a year ago. I purchased it for about 500 dollary-doos. I did have a look the other day for prices to try and purchase one now, and all the sites that I could see started around 700 dollary-doos and then made their way up into like 900 odd dollary-doos sort of thing to try and pick one up. So the more you know about the product and the prices it may be bought and sold at is going to give you a real heads up. I think you had a story about your Macallan.
Oh yeah, the nice little Macallan here. Now please understand when I'm talking about prices, this is in Australia and each different state, country can have different pricing schemes. Now this good old Macallan, and this is where it pays to look online, because I'm always trying to shop around. If I want a specific bottle, I check around all my area, and I've seen even going for $30 cheaper just by checking the next bottle across the road, and I've gotten bottles much cheaper. But I was in good old Dan Murphy's, and I saw this on their limited edition. Dan Murphy's was asking 200 dollary-doos. I looked online, everywhere else I could see online was anywhere from $470 to $600.
Oh, that's
that
a
price.
pretty good ROI
Yeah.
just instantly.
And within 4 hours, they had sold 5. So I think other people noticed it as well and quickly snatched it up. Now I do understand, especially this specific Macallan, it is limited edition, but they make quite a lot of them in a limited edition. So it's not limited edition like one of 400, but it's still nice, and damn do Macallan know how to make a box. B-roll that shit.
Yeah, and we definitely like a good box here at Hybrid Brothers.
Oh yeah. And you can do a little, oh,
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that. Will it appreciate in 5 years? I don't know. And if it does, I'll auction it off. Happy days. If it doesn't, I'll drink it. Happy days.
Yeah.
And another little interesting one, and I found that places like the Whiskey Club, and there's quite a few different ones out there, but I picked Whiskey Club because it seemed like it had a good selection, where they'll have their own selectors that'll go to various distilleries and get various limited edition offerings from them direct, such as this nice little drop here from Hellier's Road, Tasmania. So hailing a nice little Australian one there, and they'll actually go to them and request some custom stuff to be made. They'll even place the Whiskey Club logo on the packaging too, so it's kind of gives that extra little uniqueness. They're actually on their social media, I've seen them post a few that have tripled in value in 2 years. They have their mainline offering where you become a member, and then once a month they have their kind of core offering, and that gets sent out to you, and then they have these add-ins of stuff that they get. So if they get something ultra rare, ultra limited, like they just got it recently, I think Lagavulin 26-year-old whiskey. And so they said, hey, if you want this, request it. And if you're one of the lucky few that gets it, then you can get it from there. So not only do you have the mainline offering, but then you can get these extra special ones there.
Well, that's pretty good, because then you don't have to go out of your way. They sort of send it to you. But yeah, if drinking is your legitimate hobby, then things like podcasts, they'll have special guests on and everything else. Limited edition things coming up, like Black Top, they've got a very limited edition rum. So they've got, a release of rum, the very, very last naval rum, and that's a part of history. So you can literally own and drink a part of history. Or keep it and refill it.
That's really cool, yeah. Yeah, I like those, and I like the stories they bring behind them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And things like Whiskey Club, they have a big buying power, so they kind of just buy in bulk and get a bit of a discount, and they send it out to you from there.
And you end up hearing about things like the Bean Leaf Flood Rum. Eddie and I bought a bottle for, what was it, 97 dollary-doos at the time?
Yeah.
Yep. They're doing their next release of it, the 2022, and that's now jumped up to 190 dollary-doos to get another bottle of it. So.
And if I remember correctly, they won several awards with it as well.
They have.
So if you're a distillery, maybe just let your mash bill sit in flood water for a few months. We don't want it. But it was so cool. It's like, happy accident.
Yeah.
That's it, it's a happy
accident.
On those ones. So they had to leave it in there, and then wha-bam, winning awards.
Yep. But so keeping your ear to the ground can sometimes pay off.
Yeah. Well, selling is going to be an interesting challenge. Some of my friends, from what I hear, they use auction houses, and obviously the auction house is going to take a piece of the pie, but then they take a lot of the challenge away from it as well. Otherwise, if you're trying to sell it by yourself, you might hit up social media accounts. There is a lot of, like for example, the whiskey world, there's a lot of social media forums. I've seen a lot of Facebook groups around our area, and you could probably advertise it in there for sale too. But there's always some risks and challenges, like if they transfer you the money, is that going to bounce back if they cancel it? Whereas I feel like an auction house gets that general exposure and a little bit more security and safety in terms of insurance as well. But obviously they can take a piece of the pie.
Yep. And you can't always just sort of set your price on it, and depends on who turns up on the day what price you'll get. But yeah, you could just go into a little bit of a bidding war and it could drive it up as well. So yeah, a little bit of luck of the draw on that one. Yeah, I think we're both sort of taking the tack that we've bought the ones we want and then we're going to hold it sort of for 5-10 years and then try to sell them down the track. Because yeah, it might be a lot of fun to sort of, buy Dogecoin as it's skyrocketing straight up, but then, it'll fall down faster than the weird uncle that's had too many spiked eggnogs at the Christmas party.
You know who you are. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little journey and we've inspired you to do a little bit of investing yourself. And you know what to do, all the likey, happy, commenty things down below. And we are the High Proof Brothers. That was solid then, wasn't it?
Oh, that just ran up to the back of my throat and punched my tonsils.
My empath predicts that this will be slightly bitter.
It is. It's almost like I think it's no, that's classified as straw, isn't it?
We're making pot.